Huge silver price alert. If you own gold or silver, watch this immediately. Francis Hunt just revealed something shocking. The gold to silver ratio is about to collapse into single digits, and when it does, silver won't stop at $300 or even $500. Hunt says we're looking at 4-digit silver, $500, maybe $2,000 in what he calls old money terms. But here's the terrifying part. 60 to 70% of the world's silver comes as a byproduct from mining other metals, and the new solid-state batteries could consume 100% of current silver production, leaving nothing for solar panels, nothing for electronics, nothing for you and me. The supply crisis has already begun, and most silver investors have absolutely no idea what's coming next. Welcome, my friends, to Boring Currency, where we bring you the financial truths that Wall Street doesn't want you to hear. Now, before we dive deeper into Francis Hunt's shocking silver warning, I need to ask you a favor. If you're over 50 and you've worked hard your entire life to build your wealth, then this channel was made specifically for you. Please take just 2 seconds and click that subscribe button below, because the financial storms ahead won't wait for anyone. And I want to make sure you're prepared. Also, drop a comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. Are you in Texas, California, Florida, or somewhere across the world? I read every single comment, and I want to know that you're part of this community. Now, let's talk about what Francis Hunt just revealed. How about the silver market and why he believes we're about to witness the biggest wealth transfer in precious metals history? Francis Hunt sits in front of his charts, and what he sees makes his eyes widen with concern. The gold to silver ratio, that critical number that tells us how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold, is entering what he calls the contagion stage. And most investors have no idea what that means. For decades, this ratio has been manipulated, pushed higher and higher, making silver look cheap compared to gold. But Hunt believes that distortion is about to correct violently. He points to his technical charts. The ratio recently hit 126, an absurdly high number, but then something changed. It broke below the critical level of 65. And that break was not just a minor move. It triggered a massive macro reversal pattern, a head and shoulders formation that Hunt has been tracking for years. If this is going to roll over, he says calmly, when prices go up, most of the time they go down again, and we're seeing that now. The technical pattern alone suggests the ratio could crash to 32, but Hunt goes even further. He believes the ratio will eventually fall into single digits, something most analysts would call impossible. Think about what that means. If gold is trading at $3,000 an ounce and the ratio drops to 9, that puts silver at over $333 per ounce. But Hunt isn't stopping there. He sees something much bigger coming, much more dangerous and much more profitable. For those who are prepared, Hunt explains that markets, especially in the late stages of a bull cycle, don't stop at reasonable targets. They overshoot dramatically. You might plan to run to $3, he says, but end up going to $500 or even $2,000. His voice is steady, but his words carry weight. Keep in mind that markets tend to overreact in the opposite direction. All of a sudden, everyone thinks silver is God money and reacts too much. Now, this isn't hype. This is pattern recognition. Hunt has studied previous silver bull markets, and he knows how they end. They don't end calmly. They end in parabolic blow-offs where prices surge beyond all logic, beyond all reason, and create generational wealth for those who hold on long enough. But here's where most investors make their fatal mistake. They sell too early. Hunt introduces what he calls the law of the parabola, a mathematical truth that most traders ignore. He shows an exponential chart proving that in parabolic moves, most of your profit comes in the final 5 to 10% of the move. That last 5%, Hunt explains, will bring in half of your profit. Let that sink in. Half of all the money you'll make comes in the final few weeks or even days of the move. Too many people will sell too soon, he warns. And he's right. Most silver investors will watch the price hit $100, $150, $200, and they'll panic. They'll take profits thinking they've won, only to watch in horror as silver rockets to $500, $800, $200. Without them, Hunt is trying to prepare people for what's coming. He's trying to teach them that this move won't be like anything they've seen before. At that point, he says quietly, I don't know what the dollar means. I'm not sure what kind of money will be used at that time. If it's still a dollar, a digital dollar, or something else. His words hang in the air. This isn't just about silver prices. This is about the collapse of the entire monetary system. And silver, poor, forgotten, manipulated silver, is about to become the most sought-after asset on planet Earth. Hunt believes the technical breakdown of the gold to silver ratio is just beginning. The contagion phase is when momentum builds, when technical signals align, and when prices start moving much faster than anyone expects. He's watched this pattern before, in the 1970s and 2011, and now it's happening again. But this time, the move could be bigger than anything in history. The ratio breaking below 65 was the starting gun, and the race has already begun. Most investors are still standing at the starting line, wondering if they should enter. And while Hunt and those who follow his analysis are already miles ahead, the question now isn't whether silver will rise. The question is, how high will it go before this cycle ends? And Hunt's answer is terrifying and thrilling at the same time. There's a question that haunts every silver investor every single day. Is it too late to buy? Francis Hunt hears this question constantly, and his answer might surprise you. He leans forward, looks directly at his audience, and asks the simple question: if something is going to $1,200, does $82 seem like too much to pay? The room goes quiet because suddenly the math becomes crystal clear. People worry about buying silver at $80, $90, even $100. They think they missed the boat. They think the big gains are already behind them. But Hunt sees it differently, completely differently. He's not just looking at today's price, he's looking at tomorrow's reality. And in that reality, current prices are a gift most people will refuse to accept because of fear, because of doubt, because they're waiting for a pullback that may never come. Hunt then addresses another concern, one that keeps traders awake at night. Where do you enter when the monthly chart shows no obvious dip? This is the entry point paradox. On the longer time frames, silver looks like it's already running. No clear support levels, no obvious entry zones, just a vertical climb that seems impossible to join. But Hunt has a solution, a strategy he's refined over decades of trading precious metals. Having multiple time frames, he explains, is helpful because it means you can keep getting entry chances. In smaller time frames, he's not telling people to buy blindly at any price. He's teaching them to zoom in to find the micro pullbacks that happened inside the macro rally. Hunt pulls up a live trading platform, the same one he uses for his own money. Not theory, not hypotheticals, real trades with real capital. He points to Bitcoin, gold, silver, all running higher, and everyone was saying they topped out. What did we get? Hunt asks. We were given a chance to re-enter during this daily time frame. He shows 2 entry points, places where silver briefly dipped inside the overall uptrend. I put on 2 entries, he says. I would have made stops here and here on what we call the relative low with stop losses. This is the HVF method. Hunt's proprietary system for trading macro bull markets on shorter time frames, and it's working beautifully. Those stop losses, he continues, are now up here with promised profit locks. We put in more bids, and those are now well into the money. About 150% gain there, about 305% there, and we're still going up. This isn't luck. This is strategy. Hunt is proving in real time, with real money, that even in a raging bull market, there are still entry opportunities if you know where to look. The key is understanding that volatility creates chances, not obstacles. Every time silver pulls back, even by $5 or $10 on the daily chart, it's an invitation to join the move. But most traders miss these opportunities because they're staring at the monthly chart, watching silver climb from $30 to $80 and thinking, I'm too late. While professional traders like Hunt are zooming into the hourly, the 4-hour, the daily charts and finding perfect entry zones with tight stop losses and massive profit potential, Hunt then shows something that makes the audience gasp. A quarterly chart of silver going all the way back to the 1950s. 75 years of data. And on that chart, he identifies what he calls a squeeze inside a squeeze. A compression pattern so tight, so powerful that when it breaks, the explosion is inevitable. We had technical proof, Hunt explains, that silver was about to make a big move. We would break by the exit and put the stop loss there. But then something even better happened. You often get a gift inside a gift. He says, the markets love you. I show people how to make the markets love them. His philosophy is unique. He doesn't see markets as enemies or battlefields. He sees them as sources of opportunity, constantly offering presents to those who pay attention. When we're in the markets, Hunt says poetically, we feel like blind animals, walking on pearls, gold, and diamonds. The markets want to love you and give you gifts. All you have to do is bend over, open your eyes, and pick them up. That squeeze inside a squeeze triggered at $25 with a very tight stop loss and a target of $333. But Hunt is clear that $333 won't be the high. It will be a place to rest for a while, consolidation zone before the next leg up. He's already positioned with 50% of his position, ready to take partial profits while letting the rest run to wherever this market decides to take him. This is the difference between amateur traders and professionals like Hunt. Amateurs ask, is it too late? Professionals ask, where's my next entry? Amateurs see a rally and feel left behind. Professionals see a rally and find 5 different ways to join it. Hunt's message is clear. The move has started, but it's far from over. And for those willing to learn the strategy, the opportunity is still wide open. Francis Hunt is about to reveal something that changes everything. A supply crisis so severe, so perfectly hidden, that even most silver analysts have completely missed it. He pulls up a chart that shows the gold to silver ratio going back decades. And what he's about to explain will make your blood run cold. The gold to silver ratio, Hunt begins, has been way too high for way too long. But why? Why has silver been so suppressed compared to gold for so many years? Hunt zooms out further, back to 2007, then further still all the way to the 1960s, the Vietnam War era, and he sees a pattern, a disturbing pattern. Everything has become more financialized, he says, and silver prices have been pushed down compared to gold prices, but it goes deeper than that. Throughout history, the gold to silver ratio has had natural ranges. In ancient Egypt, it was 8:1. During other periods, it ranged from 10:1, 12:1, even 15:1, but never in human history has it stayed above 100, for as long as it has recently during the time of financialization. Hunt explains there were a few that hit 30:1. That was still part of the suppression of the Silver Age. The suppression happened because there was too much inventory above ground. Physical silver sitting in vaults could be used to manipulate prices to keep them artificially low. But Hunt drops the bombshell. Everything says that if you don't keep it in a safe, inside the borders of your own country, you don't have it. In other words, most of that above ground supply doesn't actually exist. Not in the way people think. Not in accessible form. The inventory advantage is disappearing, and when it's gone, the real supply crisis will be exposed for everyone to see. But here's where it gets truly frightening. Hunt reveals the production problem that nobody's talking about. 60 to 70% of silver, he says slowly, comes from mining other things. Let that sink in. Most of the world's silver isn't mined by silver miners. It's a byproduct, a leftover from zinc mines, copper mines, lead mines, gold mines. That actually means, Hunt continues, you don't have many people who work hard to mine silver. Only about 30 to 40% of your supply comes from someone whose job it is to get silver out of the ground. This is catastrophic because it means when silver prices rise, supply doesn't respond. If you're a copper miner and you're digging for copper, you don't suddenly dig faster. Just because silver hit $100, you're there for the copper. The silver is just bonus. They don't care as much about the waste. Hunt explains they're going down to get the iron ore, zinc, gold, copper, or something else. The silver that will be taken out, but it's not why they're digging. This creates an impossible situation. Demand for silver is about to explode, but supply cannot respond, no matter how high prices go. And here's why demand is about to go parabolic. Hunt talks about the new world. We're being pushed into electric vehicles, solar panels, smart grids, electronic surveillance systems. Everything requires silver. Now that we're moving toward the iPad car, Hunt says the iPad everything and the world of rechargeable batteries. Everything is a rechargeable battery. He's talking about the new solid-state batteries, the ones that can power a car for 900 kilometers and charge to 80% in just 8 minutes. These batteries are a game changer for electric vehicles, but they have one problem. They require massive amounts of silver. Hunt delivers the knockout blow. That would need 20% of those highly superior batteries, which means it would need 100% of the silver that is currently being made. Read that again. 100%. Of current silver production, just for batteries. That means no silver for gadgets. Hunt says no silver for anything else. No silver for solar panels. The solar industry alone uses enormous amounts of silver. Every solar panel contains silver paste for electrical conductivity. And the world is installing solar panels at record pace. Then there are electronics, smartphones, computers, medical devices, military equipment. All require silver. And don't forget defense applications. These get hot. Hunt notes. They're very good at making weapons. Everything needs more silver. Now the supply-demand equation is completely broken. We're entering a world where silver demand could be 5 times, 10 times, maybe 20 times current production levels, and there's no way to increase supply quickly. You can't just open a silver mine overnight. It takes years, billions of dollars, and even then, it hasn't been possible to make money from them, Hunt explains, because making a hole in the ground to get silver takes too much energy for the price that's being offered. Silver has been too cheap for too long, and now the market is about to correct that decades-long mistake all at once. Hunt isn't predicting a normal bull market. He's predicting a supply crisis of historic proportions, where price is the only mechanism to ration demand. Price is the only thing that can fix this, he states, and fix it. The market will by sending silver to levels that seem impossible today but will seem obvious tomorrow. The hidden supply crisis is hidden no longer, and those who understand it are positioning themselves right now before the world wakes up to the reality that there simply isn't enough silver to meet the demand that's already here, let alone what's coming in the months and years ahead. Francis Hunt has shown us the technical breakdown. the entry opportunities, the supply crisis. But now comes the hardest question, the question that separates wealthy investors from those who watch wealth slip through their fingers. When do you sell? Hunt addresses this directly because he knows this is where most people will make their biggest mistake. When should I sell my silver? He asks, repeating the question that everyone once answered. His response is not what most expect. The exit for silver, Hunt explains carefully, will depend on the gold to silver ratio, not the price, not round numbers like $100 or $500, not emotional levels counted, but the ratio. The same ratio that triggered this entire move will signal when it's time to exit. Hunt believes the ratio will eventually collapse into single digits, and when it does, that's when the final phase begins. The phase where fortunes are made or lost, depending on who has the discipline to hold on and who panics too early. He reminds his audience about the law of the parabola, that exponential curve where half of all profits come in the final 5 to 10%. Most of your money on repeats is made in the last stretch. That last 5% will bring in half of your profit. But here's the psychological trap. By the time silver reaches $200, $300, $400, every fiber in your body will be screaming at you. To sell, the media will call it a bubble. Your friends will tell you you're greedy. Your family will beg you to take profits, and you'll watch silver pull back 15% and 20%, and you'll think, this is it, the top is in, I should sell. But Hunt warns, those pullbacks are gifts, not warnings. We only do a partial close, he says, of about 50% most of the time. This is the professional approach. Take some profits to remove emotional pressure, but let the rest run to capture the full move. Hunt has his target of $300, but he's crystal clear. That's not the high. That will be a place to rest for a while. A consolidation zone where weak hands sell and strong hands accumulate. More before the final surge to 4-digit silver. We expect to do better than that, Hunt states. Much better. But then he says something that sends chills down the spine. At that point, I don't know what the dollar means. I'm not sure what kind of money will be used at that time. If it's still a dollar, a digital dollar, or something else, this isn't just about silver going up. This is about the entire monetary system going through transformation, possibly collapse, possibly replacement. In old money terms, though, Hunt continues, it will be in the 4 digits. 4 digits, 0, 500, 2,000, or higher. These aren't wild predictions. These are mathematical projections based on supply constraints, demand explosions, and monetary instability. Hunt has pretty high hopes for that event, but he's also realistic about what it means for the world. When silver hits 4 digits, it won't be because everything is going well. It will be because everything has gone wrong with our current system. The financialization that kept silver suppressed will have broken down. The inventory above ground will have been depleted. The supply from byproduct mining will have proven insufficient. And the world will be scrambling for physical metal at any price. Hunt shows his final chart, the quarterly structure, going back to the 1950s, 75 years of compression, building energy like a coiled spring. When squeezes stop, Hunt explains, prices don't go up, they explode. And that explosion has already begun. The technical breakout is confirmed, the momentum is building. The contagion phase is here. Hunt's message to silver holders is both encouraging and cautionary. Encouraging because the setup is perfect. The move has started, and those positioned correctly will see generational wealth. Cautionary because the real gains haven't even started yet, and selling too early will be the biggest regret of many investors' lives. Silver's finish is rarely calm. Hunt reminds us past patterns show this stage is marked by overreaction rather than accuracy. When the end comes, it will come fast. Silver won't politely top out and give everyone time to exit gracefully. It will spike violently, pull back sharply, spike again, and then when everyone thinks it's going to $3,000, it will roll over fast and hard. But that day is not today. Not this month, probably not this year. Hunt believes we're still in the early stages of a multi-year move that will reshape the precious metals markets forever. His final advice is simple but powerful. The markets want to love you and give you gifts. All you have to do is bend over, open your eyes, and pick them up. Those gifts are the pullbacks, the temporary dips, the moments of doubt where you can add to positions or hold strong while others panic. Francis Hunt has laid out the complete picture, the technical setup, the supply crisis, the demand explosion, and the entry strategies and the exit framework. Now the question is, will you listen? Will you have the courage to buy what seems expensive today but will seem cheap tomorrow? Will you have the discipline to hold through the volatility and capture the full move? Or will you be like most investors who look back in 2 years and say, I knew silver was going higher, I just didn't have the guts to stay in. The choice is always yours, but the clock is ticking in silver. It doesn't wait for anyone. The train is leaving the station. The only question now is whether you're on it or watching it from the platform as it accelerates into the distance, taking generational wealth with it. Francis Hunt has given you the roadmap. The rest is up to you. End of video now. Drop a comment below. Tell us what you think about Francis Hunt's silver analysis. Are you buying more? Are you holding strong? Or are you sitting on the sidelines? We want to hear from you. And if this video opened your eyes to what's coming in the silver market, please hit that like button, subscribe to Boring Currency, and turn on notifications, because the financial storms ahead are just beginning, and we'll be here to guide you through every step of the way. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay informed, and stay positioned for what's coming.